Hello guys, and welcome to another edition of Nikky Chance's Top 5. Today, on my Top 5 list, I'm going to be listing my top 5 ways to beat Robb Banks. This is because I'm going to be having a CHW Interstate Championship match with him this weekend, and I want you guys to have a little preview of what's going to happen to Robb Banks. So, starting off at number 5, my single leg Boston Crab. One of my most devastating finishing moves is the single leg Boston Crab. And while I haven't put a lot of people away with it before, I have used it to set up finishes for my matches, including with Executor, where I used the single leg Boston Crab to damage his leg so much he couldn't capitalize off his finishing move. And in another picture I'm going to show you here, with Raven, I used my single leg Boston Crab along with Agent Exile's chokehold with the strap to eliminate her from the Stairway to Heaven match. So as you can see, my crab is definitely something you're going to want to be careful for, because once I lock it in, your leg could be useless. At number 4, I'm going to talk about another one of my famous signature moves, my flying knee drops. Now I've used these in different capacities before. As you're going to see in these pictures, I've done it to grounded opponents, but also in my matches with Matt Rage and Phil Knox, I've used my flying knee drop to put them through a table, and also get close to winning my match with Matt Rage, and actually winning my match with Phil Knox. This flying knee drop is a devastating move, and it's going to come in handy when I'm knocking Robb Banks' skull into the ground. So moving on to number 3, I'm going to talk about my King of Clubs kendo stick shots. So as you know, in my matches, I typically take a kendo stick and I hit people 3 times, and while I'm hitting them, I yell out the term King of Clubs, referring to myself, Nikky Chance, the King of Clubs. These kendo stick shots are really damaging. And again, while I've never used it to actually win a match, I have used them to damage my opponent a great deal leading up to my finishes. And that's why I put things together like the knee drops and the single leg Boston Crab just to damage them. But of course, weapons always hurt more than wrestling moves. And of course, as you can see here, I've also used my kendo stick attached to a light tube before to create a very special King of Clubs moment. Moving on to number 2, I'm going to talk about possibly one of my most devastating signature moves, and something that everybody has to be wary for. The all-in big boot. Now my all-in big boot I've used against several people, including Swade Savard, Executor, Agent Exile, Phil Knox, and I've actually used it to put away someone before too, because I used my all-in big boot to knock Robb Banks off his feet once, and I also used it in the recent Interstate Scramble match, where I actually used it to pin Agent Exile for the championship. Although I didn't win that match, you can see just how devastating the all-in big boot is, and Robb Banks is really going to have to watch out for it, considering I've nailed him with it before, and I'll probably nail him with it again. And then of course, moving on to number 1, and the top way that I'm going to beat Robb Banks this weekend in the CHW Interstate Championship match, my luck out. Of course, this move is one of my biggest moves, and I use it in almost every single match. And I've also used it to put away opponents. Here you can see me doing it against Swade Savard, Rick Roberts, and, of course, Robb Banks. And with my luck out, I actually used that to pin Robb Banks in a previous match. So you can pretty much look forward to me hitting him with a luck out, or 2, or maybe more during the match coming up this weekend. So guys, that's my top 5 ways to beat Robb Banks, especially if you're Nikky Chance, for this weekend. So I want to hear your guys' suggestions for top 5s in the future, so please give me your suggestions, just let me know things that you want to see, and also be sure to watch my championship match this weekend against Robb Banks, where I'm probably going to become no, not probably, I'll definitely become the 2-time Interstate Champion. Thank you guys for watching, and be safe.